The other thing they also ask is they come up and they say, I'm really funny. I should be a comedian. Yeah, they do all the time. I'm really funny. Don't ever say that to a comedian, all right? Yeah, no other professions get that, do they? Hey, I'm really good at firing people. I should be in HR. Okay, I'm not famous, but I have been stalked. Yeah, actually, I had 2 semi-stalkers in my life. And in my little experience with it, it's really creepy. By semi-stalker, I mean, they weren't really following me around all the way to my house or anything that I know of, but they were sort of in that gray area between being a raving fan and stalking. Now, my first semi-stalker was a woman who kept following me from club to club all around town when I lived in the DC area. I was just starting out in comedy, and I was emceeing at clubs and also doing a lot of open mics, and she started showing up everywhere. I would have been flattered, except she started telling people she was my friend and that we were buddies. I didn't even know this woman. I'd just see her in the audience. There was about a 6-month period where she showed up looking for me at every single thing I did that had to do with comedy, or every place I was performing in the area. This happened so much that when I'd walk into an open mic, the other comics started saying, "Hey, Jan, she's here again." I did talk with her a little, but I didn't want to encourage her to keep after me. And from my brief interactions with her, I got the impression that she was a little odd. Not just because she was stalking me, by the way. Yeah, but she was sort of quirky. Once she actually went on stage to do an open mic herself, and her jokes kind of confirmed this. And at another show, she went up to my friend Rob, leaned in close, and said, "Can I ask you something personal?" He said, "Sure." She said, "Can I have $5 for a beer?" Rob was a little stunned, but I think he gave her the money. Kind of weird. The last straw, though, was at a big weekend club where I was emceeing. She showed up early and told the waitress that she was my friend. I walked in a few minutes later, and the waitress said, "Well, we let her in. She said she was your friend." I said really loudly, "She's not my friend." The stalker woman heard me say that, and then I turned to the stalker woman and said very loudly again and really firmly, "Stop following me." Turns out that's all it took to stop her. I guess she wasn't that committed to stalking. Now, the second stalker incident was years later. Some guy called me and said he booked corporate shows, and would I send my information to him. He said he loved my act and had all these ideas for comedy shows for me. I thought he was legitimate at first, and we had a nice conversation. Nothing sounded really off, but then the emails and the phone calls started. A lot. Turns out he was living with his mom somewhere in the Midwest. I can't remember how I found that out, but he absolutely wouldn't stop calling and emailing. He also sent me Facebook and LinkedIn requests, which I ignored. Now, this was like 12 years ago before caller ID and cell phones were really big, so I would answer the phone and it would be him. A couple times I ended up yelling at him to leave me alone. He was just wacky. After months of this, he finally faded away. So I thought. Yeah, I got a LinkedIn request from him in the past year. Luckily, I know how to block this stuff now, but it is a little unnerving that he's still out there. The takeaway from this is, if I can get stalked, it can happen to anyone. Regardless of what your profession is, there are weirdos out there who can become obsessed with you. We keep thinking it won't happen to us, but it can. So pay attention to the people around you, especially the ones who keep popping up or who seem to be a little too interested in meeting you. That's it for this episode. Thanks for listening. Feel free to check out my website, theworklady.com. This is Jan. Take care and enjoy your journey.